Okay, here are my favorite books. Let's get into it. Hey guys, welcome back. I'll be showing you guys all of my favorite books so far. I don't know why I'm like running out of breath. I think I'm going to start with classics first and then YA. Be like that? Okay. We'll go through my super duper favorite first. Pollyanna. Pollyanna is my favorite book in the entire world. It's about this girl. She's an orphan and she has to live with her aunt, who was mean to her at first but eventually warmed up to her. If you like, is it Anne with an E? That's how you say her name, right? Anne with an E, the show and the book. If you love those, then you will love this, because Pollyanna is also redhead and she's very freckle face. Adorable kid. She loves to play the glad game. I love her so much. Alright, next we have The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath. I know, what a basic girl. Weirdly, this book is very comforting to me. Look up trigger warnings before you read this book. I don't think I have to say what this book is. I don't know how to explain it either. I read it a long time ago. Okay, let me read the synopsis in the back just so it's more efficient if I do that. Working as an intern for a New York fashion magazine in the summer of 1953, Esther Greenwood is on the brink of her future. Yet she is also on the edge of a darkness that makes her world increasingly unreal. Esther's vision of the world shimmers and shifts day to day, living in Sultry City, her crazed men friends, the hot dinner dances. The Bell Jar is Sylvia Plath's only novel. This book makes me feel like Rory Gilmore, so I feel like I need to do a Rory Gilmore challenge. Yeah, I think I want to do a Rory Gilmore challenge. Then I have The Virgin Suicide. It's about 5 lesbian sisters who committed suicide, and this book tells the story from her neighbor's perspective. It's her neighbor, right? But the men's perspective. It's very uncomfortable to read, the way these boys talk about the lesbian sisters sometimes. I feel like this involves very heavy topics, but it's not triggering to me. Like, I didn't get triggered when I read this book. Then I have If We Were Villains and The Secret History. I feel like they go hand in hand sometimes. People like to compare the two, but they're very different in my opinion. They're both dark academia, but this one is the theater kids version. These two will always hold a special place in my heart. However, I do have to admit that I enjoyed reading this book more. I just flew through the pages when I read this book, but I had a hard time reading this book in the beginning. It's still a 5-star to me because it's just that good. And this one too, oh my god, I love it. I love these two so much. Then we have Charlotte Bronte, Jane Eyre. I love Jane Eyre. It was so surprising that I really liked Jane Eyre. I feel like for a classic, this book is such an easy read. I didn't have a hard time reading this book at all, which was very surprising. And I have to admit, I enjoy this book better than any Jane Austen books I've ever read. And I've only ever read Pride and Prejudice and Persuasion. In between Persuasion and Pride and Prejudice, I prefer Persuasion. This book is about a girl named Jane Eyre. She was an orphan, had a terrible childhood, and the book just follows the story of Jane Eyre. Her very interesting life. I think you should read this book. I'm so terrible at like explaining books, but I hope you guys enjoy whatever I'm saying and just like be entertained. So if you want to start a classic, any classic books, I really recommend these two. I know this looks intimidating, it feels very thick, but you will fly through the pages. It's not that hard. In my opinion, at least, like my experience, English is not my first language, but I didn't have a hard time reading this book. This book too, oh my god, let's go back into Pollyanna. I think I want to make a separate video for Pollyanna because I know I always have a hard time explaining books, but with Pollyanna, I don't think I have a hard time. I cried, I laughed, I have mixed emotions throughout reading the book from the very beginning to the end. Oh my god, it was so embarrassing because I would be in the train alone, just like reading, and then I suddenly wanted to cry. Like I'd shed a tear, or sometimes I just start laughing and everybody would just like stare at me. I'm like, I'm sorry, but I just couldn't help it. It's so funny. Pollyanna is such an ironically funny character, but you feel bad for her a lot of times. Like, this girl is such a pure soul. I want to defend this girl. I want to adopt her. No, I'm too young to adopt anybody. I want her to be my sister. But yeah, I love Pollyanna. Okay, Charlotte Bronte is done. Then we go through Daisy Jones and the Six. This book is inspired by Fleetwood Mac, so if you like Fleetwood Mac, I feel like you will love this book. And this book just follows the journey of this rock band in the 70s. The drama, the romances, drama in the band in general. But yeah, this book is very floppy, by the way, and I love the cover of it. I have read 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, and this one's, I'm sorry, I do not make the rules, but this book is so much better than Evelyn Hugo. This book is in an interview format, so, but I like it. People have mixed opinions about it, but I feel like it makes me part of the band. Like I was there, but at the same time interviewing them. I love the show, I love the book, but I have to admit I like the book better, obviously. But Riley Keough was so good as Daisy Jones. Then we have the Inheritance Games series. I love it. I love this series so much. I will forever be Team Jameson. Shut up, people. This book just follows the story of Avery Graham's, a nobody, suddenly inherited billions of dollars from this random billionaire. And she has to live with his grandsons, and they're the Hawthorne brothers. So yeah, the Inheritance Games. I love it. Okay, let's talk about Team Jameson, Team Grayson for a while. They're making a show out of this, right? From what I remember from the beginning, I love Jameson. He is such a sweetheart. Grayson is sexy as fuck. I get it, okay? I know. It was very tempting to be with Grayson, but it's just so obvious that Avery will never be his first option. Or at least he needed to heal himself first before being with anybody, and he wasn't healed from Emily because he just kept thinking about Emily. Like, shut the fuck up. Every time Emily comes out, just let the girl rest in peace. Stop mentioning her. Grayson was not over the Emily situation. Maybe he was over Emily, but the situation, he wasn't. I mean, I know it was traumatic. That's why he needs therapy. He doesn't need Avery. Go to therapy. But Jameson, for him, Avery will always be his number one, and I love that. I love it, okay? I'm sorry. I know he's the younger brother, and Grayson is very tempting, very sexy. I get it. But Jameson and Avery are made for each other. Are we reading the same book? And especially the last book. Did you read Grayson? Yeah, that motherfucker does not deserve Avery. Shut up. Go to Emily. I don't care. Now, this book series is going to be a TV show, and I know it will gain a lot of attention and new fans, and I'm just here to say that I read the book first. A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. So the story is about a murder mystery of Andy Bell. They said that Andy Bell was murdered by her boyfriend. Pip does not believe that for a second and did her own research. She found out who the real killer was throughout the book. And yeah, this book is honestly more than just a YA murder mystery. Especially this book. This book is very dark. I was surprised that this is a YA. Come on. I didn't feel bored for a second. And the title, oh come on, that is so... That's just amazing. I mean, A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. I just feel so cocky if I pull this book out. I just feel like people would look at me weirdly, and I love that people are looking at me weirdly because at least I get attentions. And I got the UK version. I just cannot imagine the characters here being American. And people say the writing is kind of different. They kind of like dumb it down a little bit in the American version. I don't know if that's true or not, but get the UK version, okay? Okay. Now, this book. God. I love this book almost just as much as I love Pollyanna. So my first favorite book is Pollyanna. My second favorite book entire of my life is Sarah and the Search for Normal by Wesley King. I hope I'm saying your name right. I got this book from Big Bad Wolf. It was very cheap for hardcover, and I did not regret it for a second because this book is so good. This is a YA book, talks about Sarah and her many mental issues. She wants to be normal, and this book is just a journey of her accepting of who she is. And it's okay to not be like the rest of the kids. It doesn't mean that you're not normal. You're just as perfect. Honestly, sometimes if I just think about this book, I want to cry. The ending is so bittersweet. I just want to cry. Yeah. But this book is my baby. Highly, highly underrated. I recommend 2 books from my favorite books. Obviously, I recommend them all, but I super recommend these. Like, it's pretty obvious. It fell. These two are my babies. Read this too and your life will be complete. These two books changed the trajectory of my life. All right, that is all, honestly. Should I just put it here? Thank you so much for watching this chaotic video. I don't know why I kept wearing this bee bandeau, but whatever. I hope you guys are entertained and found some reading inspo, some books that you guys can put in your TBR. I know lots of them are very popular books. They're popular for a reason. They're really good. I love you guys. See you in my next video. Love you.